All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Rebooking SummerSlam. This time we're going to look at SummerSlam 2006. And to give you guys some context, I thought 2006 was kind of a disappointing year. I know there were some great moments for sure. You know, like John Cena versus RVD at One Night Stand, that was a great moment. You know, Rey Mysterio winning the world title, that was a beautiful moment. But there's just a lot of things that I felt weren't great. I thought, they could have handled the return of DX better. You know, they were like squashing the Spirit Squad and stuff. And obviously, Kurt Angle left the company, which wasn't good. Randy Orton, he was kind of a mid-carder. I guess the only, bright spot would definitely be Edge. Him and Cena had a great feud, and Edge also had probably one of the match of the year with Mick Foley at WrestleMania. But, aside from that, I felt like, the year was kind of disappointing, especially considering, RVD, he got suspended just when he won the WWE title. And, he had debuts kind of like the Great Khali, it's not really my type when I like to watch wrestling. Just Rey Mysterio, the way he was booked as being world champion, he was losing to Mark Henry, he was losing to the Great Khali, he was losing to everybody. And, even Batista, when he returned, I felt like he wasn't the same guy like in 2005. There's something about him that wasn't the same. But, it was still an okay year, though. Don't get me wrong. And SummerSlam, I think it was okay as well, but definitely could have been better, in my opinion. So let's go through the card. First match, Chavo Guerrero defeats Rey Mysterio. This is when Chavo turned on Rey against King Booker, and Rey lost the world title. It was an okay match. I just felt like, they keep using Eddie's name in these feuds, man. It's kind of like, let the man rest. Like, Then we got Big Show defeating Sabu in the Extreme Rules match. Wasn't a fan of Big Show going to ECW. I thought, that didn't make a lot of sense for me. I just didn't get that. And yeah, it's unfortunate because RVD was the champ, and you had high hopes for ECW, and then you got like Big Show and Batista fighting on ECW. Yeah, you already know it's a problem. Change the channel. That's what the fans were chanting. Yeah. Then we got Hulk Hogan defeats Randy Orton. Hulk Hogan's last match, and it didn't really feel like a big deal, to be honest. Ric Flair defeats Mick Foley in the I Quit match. This was a good match because the feud was kind of based on realism. Ric Flair was calling Foley a glorified stuntman and all that. I just didn't like the finish with Melina. Mick Foley was trying to befriend Melina, and Ric Flair was going to attack Melina, and he quit. I just did not get that. The next night on Raw, Melina turned on Mick Foley anyway. So, yeah, just wasn't a fan of the finish, but it was a pretty good match. Then we got Batista versus King Booker. This is the famous Batista and King Booker fighting in the locker room. Sorry, not in the locker room, during a photo shoot. And yeah, you could kind of see it affected the chemistry. And it had one of the worst disqualification endings with Sharmell just like slapping Batista's back. I thought that was pretty bad, to be honest. And then we got Genration X versus the McMahons. I thought it was actually a pretty good match. I found the McMahons using like special tag teams, their moves pretty funny. They even did the heart attack, just like the Heart Foundation, which was funny. And I like the idea of McMahon using his power to help get people to attack DX before the match, and they get some momentum, which was pretty smart booking. And yeah, that was a good match. Again, the only issue I had with the DX thing was like, it just became a little too cartoony to me. Because back in the day, DX was, rated R, but now it's becoming more cartoony, a lot of high school humor. But I understand they're trying to, get a new audience. So it is what it is. But yeah, good match. And the main event was also a good match, WWE Championship match. Edge defending against John Cena, and if Edge got disqualified, he would lose the belt. I thought it was a good match, and Definitely probably the feud of the year. So, and it'll only get topped by their Unforgiven match. And I thought it was cool how, Boston was Cena's hometown, and Unforgiven is Edge's hometown in Toronto. So, yeah, I like that storytelling there. So yeah, overall it was okay card, but definitely could have been better, and I'm gonna try and make it better. So here we go. First match, we got CM Punk versus Mike Knox. You might be thinking Mike Knox, but yeah, they were kind of slowly building a feud between Punk and Mike Knox. Mike Knox's girlfriend on screen was Kelly Kelly, and Kelly Kelly was she was doing the Kelly Kelly expose, where she would basically strip in front of a crowd, which was pretty wild back then. Obviously, you won't see that today. And yeah, she was kind of showing interest in CM Punk, and Mike Knox can get jealous and all that, and he could like laugh at being straight edge and all that. CM Punk could say, I'm straight edge, but it seems like your girlfriend likes straight edge as well, so he could throw some shots. And yeah, I think it would be a good showcase for CM Punk. And also, I feel like if you want to legitimize ECW as a brand, they need more than one match on the pay-per-view, so I gave them an extra match. So yeah, CM Punk gets his win in his pay-per-view debut, and start of a legendary career for sure. Next match, we got the WWE Tag Team Championship match. Paul London and Brian Kendrick, a.k.a. Lundrick, versus King Booker and Finlay, a.k.a. the Royal Court. I'd have, King Booker and Finlay, win a number one contenders match, and they could brag about, how, the tag team titles need some royalty, and that they're going to beat these fools, Paul London and Brian Kendrick, and Paul London and Brian Kendrick can brag and say, you guys are in the Royal Court, but we have the gold. So, and yeah, I think it'll be a fun match. Two different styles, obviously Finlay and King Booker more of brawlers, and then Paul London and Brian Kendrick high flying. So I think it'll be a nice clash of styles, and I actually have Paul London and Brian Kendrick retain. They had a super hot tag team reign. They started in, I believe, Judgment Day 06. And I believe it went all the way to No Way Out 07 or something like that. So they had an amazing reign. And yeah, you got to keep the belts on them for sure. Now, all right, next match we got Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, versus Randy Orton. So again, kind of a legend versus legend killer match, although it's not Hulk Hogan. It's probably, the next best name, Ric Flair. And, they could just play off their history. Ric Flair could say, how he's been disappointed in Randy. Ever since, he was in Evolution, after he won the world title, he's done nothing. And, Randy Orton can say, Ric Flair is jealous of me. He's jealous that, I have more charisma than him, that, the women like me more and all that. He can brag about that. And, he can say that he's a legend killer. Ric Flair's a legend. And, yeah, pretty much that's the feud. And they could play off, obviously, their history and evolution. I think this is a good match, to kind of reheat Randy Orton. He was kind of cold because he got suspended after WrestleMania and all that. So at least kind of heat him up. And also a good feud for Ric Flair. He's been having a fun 2006. He feuded with Edge in a fun match. So, yeah, I think this will be a good match. All right. Next match, we got the U.S. Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know why Kennedy was on the card. He was, one of the top stars on SmackDown. And yeah, it'll just be a battle of the two rising stars. They kind of both debuted in late 2005, I believe. And both had, debuting pay-per-view matches at No Mercy. So Kennedy could brag about saying he's the fastest rising star and all that. Lashley could come out and say, hey, you say that, but where's your championships? And then, after a match Lashley has, Kennedy could jump him with the microphone, kind of bust him open and make the challenge and say he's going to prove that he's the fastest SmackDown rising star and all that. And yeah, that'll be the crux of the feud. I'd actually give Kennedy the win. I thought he was super entertaining. And I think, he'd be good in the U.S. title picture before, eventually winning Money in the Bank. Obviously, we didn't know that, they were going to botch his Money in the Bank win, but, if you're building to that, you might as well, give Kennedy the U.S. title and let him run for it for a bit. And the next match, we got the ECW Championship, RVD versus Sabu. So, obviously, RVD got suspended, so I guess they kind of have a tournament where Sabu wins and Sabu's about to be crowned, but then RVD comes out and says, he's back and that, me and you at SummerSlam for the vacant ECW Championship. And, Sabu accepts. He says, what, I can take this championship right now because I won the tournament, but he wants to prove to RVD that he's the top man in ECW. So, and that'll be the feud, and they could play off their history in ECW, and, they could each do like a couple impressive spots while, one is like watching them on commentary. So, and I'd actually give Sabu the win. I think, nice to switch it up. Obviously, it's unfortunate what happened to RVD, but it is what it is. And I think Sabu can run for it for a bit. And him and RVD could have a pretty good feud over the ECW Championship. I think it'll be fun. All right, next we got the World Tag Team Championship. Genration X versus the champions, the Big Show and Kane. So yeah, so after DX forms against, the Spirit Squad, they squashed them. And, they want the McMahons, but the McMahons don't accept. And they're kind of, telling Big Show and Kane that they have to, defend against DX. And that they want the true monsters, not the baby faces. And that would actually turn Big Show and Kane heel. They would align themselves with the McMahons. And, yeah, I think it'd be, a good match, and it will slowly build to DX eventually facing the McMahons, but you don't want to blow it off right away. So I think this would be a nice way, and also a good way to get the tag titles on the card, and also I'd have the DX win the championship here, because they're super hot when they debuted, and yeah, just bring more, credibility to the tag team championships that DX are actually holding it, and that'll be a great moment because I believe. They never won the tag titles together, so be a great moment. DX wins, and Vince is pissed, and sets up, the Hell in a Cell and Unforgiven. All right, now we got the Undertaker versus, the Great Khali in a last man standing match. I know, people are not a fan of Khali. I definitely understand that. But, going by how they booked it, it was supposed to be him and Khali at Great American Bash. Obviously, that's pay-per-view is known for the liver enzymes. A lot of people got affected, Khali being one of them. So, yeah, they kind of just prolonged the feud. And Khali was a physical specimen. And, his aura can only last for so long, so you might as well take advantage of him in 2006 because eventually, he loses credibility and becomes like a comedy guy. So, yeah, and I think it'll be good for Taker to get the win. I know he got dominated at Judgment Day, so SummerSlam Taker could get his win and end the feud. And, yeah, he can go again, feud with Kennedy. Like he did it later in the year, and then eventually, obviously, he win the Rumble and, win the world title. All right, next we got the World Heavyweight Championship match. Rey Mysterio versus Batista. Yes, friends versus friends. Rey could be talking about how happy he is to be world champion. Batista comes out and says, I'm proud of you, Rey, but I told everyone I'm coming to get my title, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to come in to get my title. It's going to be at SummerSlam. Rey accepts. And, yeah, they can say, we're going to have a classic match that Eddie's going to be proud of. And, yeah, kind of face versus face. Obviously, they have a couple tag team matches where there's some tension there between Rey and Batista. Accidentally hitting each other and stuff like that. All right, the next match we got the WWE Championship match. Yes, not main eventing, but still a big match. Edge defending against Mick Foley. Hell in a Cell. Yeah. Edge and Mick Foley had that amazing match at WrestleMania 22. And then Foley turned heel, aligned himself with Edge. They had also another classic at ECW One Night Stand versus Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer. And yeah, I think after that match, I'd have, Edge beat up Terry Funk, and Mick Foley comes to his aid and tells him, "Hey, Edge, you gotta stop, man." And this enrages Edge, and Edge spears Mick Foley, gives him a concerto, and says, "I don't even know why I teamed up with you. You're a has-been, and all that." And yeah, Mick Foley will be away for a couple weeks, and he challenges Edge, and Edge, when he returns, he challenges Edge. Edge starts laughing, right? Like, yeah, you're a Muppet, you're Mick Foley. And then I forgot to mention this, just like, he did with Triple H, he starts forming into Cactus Jack. Yeah, so it's not going to be Edge versus Mick Foley. It's going to be Edge versus Cactus Jack. Hell in a Cell. Wow. The rematch to WrestleMania 22. Yeah, man. Hardcore legend versus self-proclaimed hardcore legend. The rated R superstar versus the guy with some of the most rated R moments in WWF history, whether it's, getting bloody, thumbtacks, thrown off cells, ears coming off, tooth in his nose. Yeah, man. Hell in a Cell. They do their thing. And Edge gets another rub. Edge becomes truly the man. Beats Mick Foley clean in the cell. And yeah, Mick Foley can take a break from wrestling for a bit after putting Edge over twice in 2 classic matches. And then we got the main event. John Cena, yes. Well, who's he going to face? I believe I mentioned almost everyone on the roster that was a main event player, right? Well, he's going to face Hulk Hogan, brother. And yes, this is the passing of the torch. Cena versus Hogan. So Hogan could, come out talking about, his legacy and all that. Cena comes out, straight up challenge. He says, "You're the man in your era. I'm the man now. Me and you at SummerSlam." Hogan says, "I accept, brother." And that's the feud, That's the feud. And then, they could Cena can, he could revert kind of heel, go to his battle raps and all that. And Hogan could say, "The only reason Cena's here is because he copied me. I'm the blueprint of success in this business, and Cena's just copying it." And yeah, slowly building tension like that. And it'll be a great match, I think, to end his career. Hogan doesn't wrestle again for WWE, so it's only right that he passes the torch to the man of the new era, John Cena. Both shake hands and embrace to end the show. So yeah, guys, that's my SummerSlam card. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me run through the card right now. CM Punk versus Mike Knox. And we got Paul London and Brian Kendrick defending the WWE Tag Team Championship against King Booker. And my name is Finlay. And then we got Legend versus Legend Killer Ric Flair versus Randy Orton, Legend Killer. And we got United States Championship, the real deal Bobby Lashley versus Mr. Kennedy. And then for the ECW Championship, we got Rob Van Dam versus the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal Sabu. Then we got for the World Tag Team Championship, the Generation X versus the champions, the Big Show and Kane. Then we got the Undertaker versus the Great Khali in a last man standing match. For the World Heavyweight Championship, the Master of the 619 Rey Mysterio versus the Animal Batista. And for the WWE Championship, the Rated R Superstar Edge versus the Hardcore Legend Cactus Jack. Hell in a Cell. And the main event, Legend versus Icon, Hulk Hogan brother versus You Can't See Me, John Cena. So yeah guys, that is my card. Let me know what you guys think about it. Much love, peace.